has come to the decision that Pluto will no longer be recognized as a planet and instead will be referred to as a dwarf planet.
There actually might be the 9th planet in our solar system.
There are mysteries in the solar system that are remarkable, that we are only now starting to just kind of scratch the surface of.
Scientists have discovered a possible new planet in our solar system for the first time in 170 years.
It's sort of like an indication that we really don't know everything there is to know about our solar system.
Planet 9 is an object that we believe lives in the solar system beyond the orbit of Neptune. It orbits the sun with a period of about 10,000 years. And an orbit which is slightly tilted with respect to the plane of the solar system, slightly eccentric. If you imagine, Neptune's orbit like a circle on a radius of 1.3 times bigger, you've got a whole collection of icy objects. If you then zoom out and explore the orbits of the most long period Kuiper Belt objects, these are the things that have the biggest orbits and take the longest time to go around the sun, then what you find is that beyond a critical orbit size, beyond a critical orbit period, which is about 4,000 years, you start to see weird structure. Like all the orbits sort of point into one direction. And all the orbits are kind of tilted in the same way by about 20 degrees. We interpreted this pattern of clustering as a gravitational one-way sign for the existence of a distant planet, right? Something that is shepherding and confining these orbits together.
So the evidence is that we can look at objects orbiting around our solar system and figure out why their motions are the way they are because of the gravitational influences of everything else around. So we looked at a small group of objects newly discovered and realized we couldn't actually completely understand their motion. However, if we insert into the equation about that an object about the size of this planet 9, everything then worked out perfectly.
The 8th one, Neptune, this has a very interesting story. This planet was actually predicted to exist before it was discovered. After Uranus's discovery, physicists, astronomers were putting Newton's law of gravity to the test. They try to make predictions, very precise predictions of Uranus, where Uranus would be on the sky, and they try to compare that with the actual observations. And they found that it did not exactly match where Uranus was supposed to be, according to Newtonian gravity. It took some time, but it was actually finally predicted through lots of hard work that one night Neptune will appear in this part of the sky. And so astronomers should go and look at that spot. And lo and behold, within 1 degree, which is about the size of your fingertips, it was found within 1 degree.
Primordial black hole is a black hole which is made not through the usual pathway of making a black hole, which is that you have a star, which is more massive than 1.4 or so solar masses. And basically, when it runs out of fuel, it can't hold itself up anymore, and just the whole thing collapses on itself. Simple way to think about it is you create an object with zero radius that has mass but zero radius, singularity. When the universe was forming, basically during the Big Bang, you created a whole spectrum of black holes, some with masses of 5 Earth masses. On the smaller end, over the lifetime of the universe, the small ones kind of evaporate and are not there anymore. At least this is what the calculations tell us. But 5 Earth masses is big enough to not have evaporated. So one idea is that Planet 9 is not a planet, and instead it is a 5 Earth mass black hole. And that's why it's hard to find.